Hey everyone, my name's Jo and welcome to Aussie Homeschool Adventures. It's so good to see you. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. I've missed you. Sorry guys, I took a few weeks off posting. We had some stuff happening in our family and I just needed some time and space to breathe and deal. So I am now back. I won't be really sharing too much about it. If you follow me over on Instagram, you might have an idea. If you do, if you don't, it's okay. If you don't follow me over there, go and check it out. I usually share a lot more regularly over on my Instagram, posting stories, sharing snippets of our day and whatnot over there. So be sure to check me out. I'll leave a link in the description box below for it. But today is a video for you on starting out homeschooling. So if you're new to homeschooling, this one will be perfect for you. I get people reaching out to me all the time on Instagram, here on YouTube, saying that they're not sure how to get started. They're feeling very overwhelmed and they're feeling very confused about homeschooling and how to start and what that looks like and all of the things. So I thought I would share with you today my 5 tips on dealing with that overwhelm, that initial, I want to homeschool. What does that look like? How do I do that kind of thing? So let's get started. Tip number 1, research. Now, I know I'm going to say that and everyone's going to be like, oh, I'm not really good at that. I'm not saying spending hours here. I'm just saying jump on your phone, jump on your iPad, on your laptop, whatever your preferred screen device is, and Google the words homeschooling styles or methods. There are a bunch of different ways and methods people choose to homeschool their children. Everything from unschooling to traditional, to Montessori, to Charlotte Mason, Reggio, Montessori. I've got notes, so I'm looking down to read my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. Yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different styles. Eclectic, I'm a bit more of an eclectic homeschooler, so that means it's a bit of a, I don't know, it's a great one for me, and it's a great one for a lot of people, because it means that eclectic means that you get to pick and choose different styles for different things. And you're not feeling like you're bound to one particular format or style of homeschooling. So I'm definitely eclectic with a more traditional sort of bent. But I know others that are more eclectic and they're more Charlotte Mason or they're more unschooling. And it's great, and you can do whatever works for you and your children. But the best thing would be to research those and find out what suits you. I'm pretty sure I have a video that I did a collaboration with a bunch of other homeschoolers on homeschooling philosophies. So I'll leave a link to that one here. I'll fly a card up and I'll leave a link down below in the description box as well. And you can go and check out that video and as we share about our different homeschooling philosophies. So that's the other word you can use to type in is homeschool philosophy, style, method. But research those and see which one resonates with you and your children's learning style. Now, it's going to take time for you to find out their learning style unless you've done stuff with them through like homework and things like that. If you haven't, that's okay. You'll get to know it pretty quickly. And you can Google what's my child's learning style or learning styles quizzes and stuff like that, and you'll be able to figure it out doing things like that. So research those sorts of homeschool methodologies and then compare it to distance education. So that is homeschooling. Homeschooling is doing that, which is where you are the person who writes your child's program. You are the person who is responsible for delivering the program or curriculum, and that's up to you. And then you report back to your government body in Australia. So in Queensland, it's the HEU, the Home Education Unit. New South Wales, Victoria, WA, NT, South Australia, they all have their own departments that oversee the homeschooling. I can't tell you about other states. I'm sorry, I really don't know much about them. But I'm sure there are other people that share bits and pieces about that on here on YouTube. I know Marika Lake, she shares about Western Australia, and Danny from One Single Joy shares about New South Wales. So be sure to check out their channels and they can probably help you out with those areas. Beyond that, I don't really know, I'm sorry, but a quick Google should be able to tell you your state's governing body and their requirements for registration. So yeah, You want to then look at distance education schools in your state, in your local area, and have a look. Jump on your Facebook groups. Facebook groups are a great way to research different things for homeschooling. Everything from distance education schools, or DE schools as we call them. And you can see what the workload is like, whether people are happy with the schools and things like that. You can just search. You don't even need to post a question and go, hey, what's your thoughts on XYZ school in this area? If you search in the Facebook group that you're a part of, chances are you won't be the first person that's asked it, and you should be able to find chains of conversations and read about it and see what people have been posting about. Jump on the school's website, pull down samples of curriculums, and find out and get a feel for what their workload is going to be like. Different schools have different requirements and different workload levels for each grade and style, each grade and child. So have a look into that and see which one you feel more aligned to, whether you want to try and just do distance education, which can be really good if you're just starting out and you're feeling really overwhelmed. You won't be responsible for the program and the reporting of your child. The school will do that. You'll be allocated a teacher and they will help you out with all that sort of stuff. You just need to be the one to support your child here at home and help them to get their schoolwork done. Whereas going with the home education unit, you write the program, you choose what your child is learning and how they're going to learn it. So you want to compare those two. So that's number 2. Number 3, if you're going to use HEU and go down the DIY route, so do it yourself, then you want to research curriculum and resources. So there's so many different curriculum options out there. Once again, if you've done that top research and you've worked out that you are a Charlotte Mason, type in your Google box, Charlotte Mason curriculum for grade 4, grade 3, and you'll get a bunch of different hits. Some of my favorite curriculum providers for me that I use, now these are mine and I'm a Christian homeschooler, so I'll preface it with that, is Masterbooks. They are a Charlotte Mason inspired homeschool curriculum provider, and they're actually American, but they're written for homeschooling families with a homeschool mindset, and that makes a big difference. A lot of other things are done for classroom with a classroom mindset, and they are very different things, and you will find that in resources as you go through your journey with homeschooling. So Masterbooks is one of my favorite. Gather Around Homeschool can be another great one. So they do like a unit study based style approach. So you might spend 4 weeks learning about oceans or space or ancient civilizations or artists and things like that. So there's some really great topics to study in there. And they say in their curriculum that they choose everything, that they cover everything apart from maths in that 4-week block. So they can be a great way of covering everything. Once again, it depends on your child's learning style, your teaching style, what you want to go for in your homeschool. But definitely worth a look. I like Gather Round, and we have used some of their stuff, and we'll probably use some more again at some point in the future. My other favorites are Twinkle. Twinkle is a UK-based website, and they are for schools, but they do have homeschool stuff on there. Great place to search and find resources, activity sheets. They do whole units and stuff as well. I've never used any of their whole units, but I have pulled lots of Australian worksheets off of there to supplement my American curriculum with Australian content. Teachers Pay Teachers is another website that's very similar to Twinkle. Twinkle, you pay a base membership fee, and then you can access, like, there's 3 different levels, and then depending on your level, you can access more resources. The higher the level, the more resources you can access. So it's pretty good that if you've paid for a base membership, most of what you want will probably be included. Whereas Teachers Pay Teachers, you pay per item. So it can get expensive quickly. And there's lots of stuff on there that, once again, isn't necessarily for homeschoolers. It's made by teachers for other teachers. So it can be a bit hit and miss. And you can fall down a rabbit hole searching for resources, and it can take you hours to find what you want. But I have found some good gems in there. So depends on your time and how much time you've got to search for what you're looking for. But Teachers Pay Teachers is another great website. One I found fairly recently, and I found her through social media, and I haven't bought anything yet, but once again, it's on my list, and we'll probably do one of her units in the second half of this year. It's called, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get this right, is Rigididge Resources. I'll leave a link to her in my description box. So she's here in Queensland and she writes units. It is more of a school bent, but I feel like they should work for a homeschool environment. I can't, like I say, I haven't done one, so I can't vouch for it. But she does have a great home education program, like price point program for homeschooling families. So be sure to have a look and check her out. All about reading, all about spelling, and other great programs that I looked into, I didn't use. Another one that a lot of people love and swear by is The Good and the Beautiful. They provide a lot of their stuff for free. My cover over that is that The Good and the Beautiful are Mormons, and whilst they are, I think, overtly Mormon in their curriculum, it's done by a Mormon family. I believe from research that I've done, and I've researched it lots, is that a lot of the imagery is stuff that they use in Mormon literature as well. So it kind of gets your children used to seeing those Mormonism style images and pictures and stuff. I could be wrong. I'm sure if I'm wrong, someone will howl me down in the comments, but that's just my bent on them. There is some beautiful stuff in there. I haven't ever used a lot of it. I've used a couple of their science units. They're okay. They're not my favorite, but they're not too bad. So they're just some of the curriculum providers. There are heaps more options out there because you can do a whole unit study and you can create your own unit study. And you don't need to buy one already done. You can just go and grab a bunch of great books and do a unit study on oceans all by yourself. You don't need to have it done for you if you're feeling confident. And Pinterest is full of stuff. If you jump onto Pinterest and do a search for unit studies, and you'll find hundreds of bloggers that have done units and stuff. I'll be warned, a lot of them are American, so it can be a bit tricky for us Aussies finding ones that will work as well. So, but yeah, I have spent lots of money on buying resources that take up space on my hard drive, but that's okay. It's the perils of trying to find diamonds amongst dirt, I guess. But you find some diamonds, and yeah, it's just the way it goes. So tip number 4, once you've done all that research, is have some more research. So the other option that you can go with is a ready-made curriculum done for you. So some of these are ones that people will provide the entire year's worth of your curriculum. So these are some of the ones I've found in Australia. I personally haven't used any of them, so I can't say what I think of them. I know others use them and they love them. So I'll just list these off for you, and then you can do your own research and see whether or not they work for you. But there are things like Homeschool in a Box. There is Homeschooling Down Under. I have looked at her stuff several times and it does look quite good. I just never have done it because I'm happy with what I'm doing. Simply Homeschool, which I believe is more of a secular one. UCA, which is also a secular one. UCA used to be called Complete Education Australia. They've now rebranded themselves and are doing UCA. So these guys will provide you with a program. They will provide you with a curriculum, some for a year, some for shorter periods of time, but they will cost you a lot more money. So they won't be able to do the registration process for you. Some of them will offer to help you with it, but I believe, from what I understand, especially with things like UCA say they provide you with something to give to the HEU. Unless they've changed it, what they gave you, the HEU didn't like, because the HEU want a personalised program written for your child, not a cut and paste direct from a curriculum provider's website. So just be careful with that one. But they are good programs. I have used Complete Education when my youngest was in prep, so about 5 years ago. I used term 1 of their program, and it was all right. It wasn't my favorite. I really felt like, for me, that it was schoolwork packaged up for homeschoolers. So it just didn't quite work for me. But I know a lot of people that use it and love it. And especially if you're just starting out, one of these sorts of curriculum providers are a great place to start. And I would suggest, especially at the start, if you can, just buy a term, buy 8 to 10 weeks worth, and just try it. Don't commit yourself to a whole year in case after 4 weeks you hate it and your kids hate it and you're finding it doesn't work. Save yourself the heartache and just buy 8 to 10 weeks and try it. And if you love it, great, you can buy the rest of it. And they may even offer you a discount because you've bought the rest of it. They may not, I don't know. But just I would start with buying that 8 to 10 weeks first and just see how you go with it. So my final tip is to choose it, is to make the decision and not to be scared. I know that's easier said than done. It feels big and scary and overwhelming, but if you've done all this research and you've looked at all of these things, you know your children, you know yourself. Trust your gut and go with one of them. It may not be perfect, but that's okay, because do you know what? You can always change it. Nothing has to be set in stone. Nothing is set in concrete. At the end of the day, you can change it. The government body, the HEU here in Queensland, doesn't care if you've changed your program. They just want to know why you've changed it. And if you can explain why, that it wasn't working for your child's learning and that they weren't learning best, and that you switched it up to try and get them to learn better, they won't care. They just want to know that you're helping your child to learn the best that they can, because that's what they're about, from my understanding and my personal experience. Because I've changed my program numerous times and I've never been queried over it or had an issue with it. In fact, out of my five years of doing reports, I've never had a report returned. I've never had an issue with any of my reporting. So I'm no expert, but I'm pretty comfortable with my reporting style and that it works for me and it works for them. So yeah, you don't have to stick with it. Don't be afraid to change it up. If it's not working and you're miserable and your kids are miserable and doing school every day is like pulling teeth, then stop and try something different. Go back to the notes that you took, go back to the research that you did, and try another method, try another style. There are so many options out there, and you will find one that works for you and works for your kids, because everyone is different. I can't tell you what your kids will need. I can't tell you what will work best for you. I can only share my kids' experience and my experience and what works for us. And in doing so, I'm hoping that I'm helping you and inspiring you to have a go at homeschooling, because I love it and we love it and it works for us. So I hope that these 5 tips have been helpful for you. I hope that they've helped you with that overwhelming feeling of, oh my gosh, where do I start? I hope I've given you a place to start, something to look into and to research. I know it's just lots of research tips, but hoping that will be helpful for some people. I know that you can probably find a lot of this out in other places, but sometimes having a central point to come back to can be really good. So I hope you found this helpful. If you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. Share it with anyone that you know that might be starting to homeschool and feeling that same sense of overwhelm as well. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to my channel. I would love to see you again in my next video. Otherwise, have a fabulous week, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye.